Did you ever stop and think about why we were all glued to our screens watching every second of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's trial, but now, when it comes to Diddy's case, we're left with little more than headlines? I mean seriously, remember the Depp trial? People streamed it at work, watched clips over dinner, and made memes about it like it was the next big Netflix show. It felt like the entire internet had a front row seat to this huge celebrity drama. But now, with Diddy's case unfolding, arguably even more serious, we're all stuck piecing together updates from news sites and social media rumors. And if you've been wondering, why can't we just see this trial too? Why isn't it being televised like Johnny Depp's? You're definitely not the only one. A lot of people are asking the same thing. There's a real demand from fans to see what's happening in court, in real time. So in this video, we're going to dig into that. We'll look at why Johnny Depp's trial was streamed live for the world to see, what's actually going on with Diddy's case, and whether there's any chance it could be broadcast the same way. You might be surprised by the answer. Let's go back for a moment to 2022, the year the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial took over the internet. It was a defamation case, and it played out like a Hollywood blockbuster. There were emotional moments, heated exchanges, and a ton of legal drama. And it wasn't just reported on. It was streamed live. Millions of people tuned in to watch the courtroom unfold in real time, as if we were all watching the latest episode of our favorite show. And why did that happen? Why were cameras allowed in the courtroom in the first place? Well, that case happened in Virginia. And in Virginia, state law allows cameras in courtrooms, but only if the judge gives the green light. In this case, the judge, Penny Askerit, said yes. She approved the cameras. Why? Because she felt it was a matter of public interest. People were already talking about the case everywhere, and she figured it was better to show everything openly than to let rumors and misinformation take over. That one decision changed everything. Suddenly, we had courtroom drama right on our phones. There were live streams. YouTubers were analyzing every word. TikTok was full of reactions, edits, and hot takes. It was all over the internet. And like it or not, it set a new standard for high-profile trials. So now, fast forward to Diddy's situation, Sean "Diddy" Combs. He's facing a very serious storm of allegations. We're talking about multiple accusations of trafficking, abuse, and even an ongoing federal investigation. His homes in Miami and LA were raided. There are civil lawsuits piling up. It's a lot. And naturally, people want to know what's going on. They want to see it for themselves. Just like they did with Johnny Depp. But here's the issue. Most of the legal action against Diddy? It's happening in federal court. And that's a big deal. Because unlike Virginia's state court, federal court has a very strict rule: no cameras allowed. Ever. Seriously. In federal court, it's not up to the judge. It's a hard rule. No live streams. No TV coverage. No audio recordings. So even if Diddy's trial ends up being as dramatic or revealing as Depp's, we won't be watching it happen live. At least, not if it stays in federal court. And that's kind of frustrating for people who want transparency. They saw how open the Depp trial felt. How they could watch and decide for themselves. And now, with Diddy's case, they feel left in the dark. But hold on, there is a little glimmer of hope. Not everything tied to Diddy's legal trouble is happening at the federal level. Some of the lawsuits, especially the civil ones, are being filed in state courts. Like in New York or California. And guess what? Those courts sometimes do allow cameras. But. And this is a big but, it still comes down to the judge. Just like in Virginia, the judge has to agree that it's okay. And that approval? It's not easy to get. Especially in sensitive cases like this one. See, with the kind of allegations involved, things like trafficking, abuse, even potential criminal acts, judges often lean toward keeping things private. They want to protect witnesses. They want to avoid media influencing public opinion. And they don't want the courtroom to become a circus. But fans are still pushing for it. There are people online starting petitions, sharing hashtags, trying to bring attention to the idea. They're saying, look, if Depp's trial was public, why not this one? They're arguing that the public deserves to see how justice is handled, especially when it involves powerful figures. And that's a fair point. It raises a really interesting question. Should high-profile trials always be public? Should we be able to watch them live to see how justice plays out? Or are there times when privacy should come first? Let's get into a few details that people often miss. This stuff really shapes what's possible in cases like Diddy's. One key thing: the difference between state and federal court. Most people don't really think about it, but it makes a huge difference. Federal court has different rules, and those rules are almost always stricter when it comes to media. So if Diddy's entire case stays in federal court, there's almost no chance we'll see any of it on camera. But if parts of the case, like some of the civil suits, get handled at the state level, then it depends on the judge. There's no guarantee. But at least the door is open a little. And here's something else that matters: whether the people involved want cameras there. In the Depp trial, Johnny Depp's legal team wanted cameras in the room. They pushed for it. They wanted people to see everything, because they believed it would help clear his name. Amber Heard's team? They were against it. They thought it would turn the trial into a media frenzy. And they weren't wrong about that. So in the end, a lot depends on how the legal teams approach the case. If Diddy's lawyers decide it's in his best interest to keep everything private, they're going to push hard against any kind of media access. And from what we've seen so far, they're keeping things very quiet. Now, here's a little tip. Even if the trial isn't on TV, there are ways to keep up with what's happening. Sites like Pacer and Court Listener track official court documents and filings. You won't get video, but you'll see the real details. What was filed? What was said? What the judge ruled. It's not flashy, but it's accurate. Another expert insight worth mentioning comes from legal analyst Lisa Bloom. She's weighed in on high-profile cases before, and she said that judges are very cautious about media exposure, especially when it could impact witnesses or the jury. She's pointed out that while public interest matters, so does protecting the integrity of the trial. And that makes sense. There's a delicate balance here. On one hand, transparency is important. People want to trust the system. On the other hand, the courtroom isn't meant to be a TV show. It's a serious place. And when cases involve trauma, violence, or vulnerable people, too much exposure can do more harm than good. So where does that leave us? Right now, it's looking more and more like most of Diddy's legal troubles are going to unfold away from the public eye. Behind closed courtroom doors. At least when it comes to the big one, the ongoing federal investigation. That's the one grabbing headlines. The raids on his homes, the trafficking allegations, the deeper, more serious accusations. And since it's happening in federal court, the chances of us seeing any of it live? Pretty much zero. Federal courts just don't allow cameras. It's a hard and fast rule. No exceptions. And even though some of the lawsuits tied to these accusations might play out in state courts, like in New York or California, where cameras are sometimes allowed, the odds still aren't great. Even then, it's totally up to the judge. And in sensitive cases like this, with potentially traumatic testimony and high-stakes allegations, most judges lean toward privacy. They want to protect the people involved, especially the alleged victims. And honestly, that's understandable. Still, the demand for transparency is growing louder. People are asking, why was the Johnny Depp trial open to the public, but this one's not? They're comparing the two cases, and they're not wrong to ask questions. The Depp trial wasn't just a legal moment, it became a pop culture event. And for a lot of people, it felt like a win for transparency. You got to see everything unfold in real time. You could form your own opinions, not just rely on headlines or second-hand takes. There was a sense of being informed. Involved. Now with Diddy's situation, we don't have that. We're back to news blurbs, cryptic legal filings, and social media speculation. And that creates a sense of distance. People want more than just vague summaries or dramatic headlines. They want clarity. They want facts. And most importantly, they want to see justice, not just read about it days later through filtered lenses. And here's where it gets interesting. This growing public curiosity? It's not just random internet chatter. It's turning into something more active. We're seeing fans speak out. They're posting online. They're sharing thoughts on Reddit threads, TikTok comment sections, and Twitter debates. Some are even calling for petitions to make these trials more transparent. They're demanding the same level of access we saw with Depp versus Heard. They're saying, if we saw justice play out in that case, why can't we see it now? And that question, whether Diddy's trial should be televised, is more than just a casual ask. It opens up a deeper conversation about justice, media, and celebrity influence. On one hand, a public trial creates accountability. It allows people to witness the process for themselves. It helps prevent misinformation. And in a time when trust in institutions is shaky, that openness really matters. But on the flip side, trials aren't entertainment. They're serious. They involve real people, real pain, real trauma. Broadcasting every second to the world can sometimes do more harm than good, especially to those who are vulnerable. Witnesses might feel afraid to speak up. Victims might hesitate to share their truth. And the entire courtroom environment can become more about performance than justice. It's a tough balance. We saw that tension during the Depp trial. Some people felt empowered by the transparency. Others felt like it turned into a circus. And now, with Diddy's case, we're asking ourselves, if this trial were on TV, would it bring justice into the light? Or would it just become another viral moment? There's no easy answer. But the fact that people are even asking these questions shows how much the public conversation is shifting. We're not just consuming celebrity news anymore, we're actively engaging with it. We're questioning how it's handled. We're asking what role we play as viewers. And that's powerful. So now, we want to hear from you. If you've made it this far in the video, we know you care about the topic. So what do you think? Should Diddy's trial be televised? Do you believe it would help reveal the truth, or would it just add more noise to an already complicated situation? Would cameras bring transparency, or just drama? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Seriously. We love hearing from you. Your perspective helps keep this conversation going. And if this topic got you thinking, you might want to check out our other video, our deep dive on the Depp versus Heard trial. In that one, we unpack how it became a turning point for celebrity court cases. We look at how it shaped public opinion, how it affected the people involved, and why it might have changed courtroom coverage forever. That link's right here on the screen or in the description. You won't want to miss it. And hey, if this video made you think, if it helped you understand something a little better, or if you just found it interesting, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And if you want more honest conversations like this, don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss when we drop a new video. We're here to explore these moments with depth, honesty, and heart. Because this isn't just about Diddy. And it wasn't just about Johnny Depp. This is about how we handle justice in the public eye. It's about truth, fairness, accountability, And how all of that gets shaped by what we see, and what we don't. Thanks for spending time with us today. We appreciate you. And until next time, stay curious, stay thoughtful, and keep asking the questions that matter. We'll catch you in the next one.